Okay, so this is the first part of the last video where we're going to look at the backs of the pages, and I've decided to pin in some miniature little tags on the backs of the pages. So what I've gathered together is some tiny safety pins. You can usually get these from haberdasheries or online. I have some black ones and some brass ones. Feel free to use anything else that you want to use. And then what I've gathered together is I've got a box of just all types of just different papers. So there's stamps, there's old books, tickets. Some things are new, some things are really old. So I've just gathered together papers and envelopes and things like this. So just grab some bits and pieces from your stash. And I've drawn out myself a little tag shape so that they'll fit just quite nicely just on the inside of all the pages. I've done them double. So once you've got your template, you want a fold here so they fold over, and you're going to want to have a hole so it looks like a tag. The holes that I've done, you can use a hole punch, but sometimes that can be a little bit big, but I have this little tool that my friend Lynn bought me that's it's a hole punch, but it sort of screws down to create a hole. So just got one here left to put a hole in, so just have something to screw into, and basically you place it where you want and just push down and it screws and it goes through and creates a hole. You can see that creates a little hole, and the end bit comes with all different sizes, and it's really handy. One of the reasons that Lynn told me about it was when I've done sketchbooks and stuff, I like to cut shapes out in the middle of pages, and hole punches and stuff are a little bit limiting for that. So this is brilliant because obviously you can go anywhere that you want to go with that. So once you've got all your tags, so there's all different sorts of things. You could do it where a stamp becomes the front. It could just be little bits of text. I've got old ledgers, bits out of books, little pictures on and things like this. And what we're going to do then is we're going to decorate them. So there's two things we're going to do. We're going to look at the front side and the back side. So you could just do really simple things. So this little one here, I've got a little bit of fabric. I've stitched a button on with that one. And basically all you're going to do with that is if you get your tag and then look around for, it could be a little embellishment, a bit of cord, buttons, absolutely anything at all. Little bits of lace. Reminded me, I've got this lovely little bit of lace here. It's got these really lovely little semicircles on. So you can do is get your little embellishment that you want. I'm cheating ever so slightly because I'm going to glue things on just so that it holds them in place. So if you get your glue stick, and what I tend to do with my glue stick is get my piece and pop it on the glue stick and then just press it on so it picks up some glue rather than putting lots of glue on here. Add your little embellishment. Now obviously you've still got the option of stitching on this as well. Oops. So if I just thread up a needle, if you find that the paper feels a little bit thin when it comes to stitching, just add another little bit of paper on the back, or even pop a little bit of fabric at the back. But as long as you don't pull your needle too tight, it should be okay. Right, I'm having one of those days when my needle doesn't want to thread. There we go, we're in. Okay, pop a little knot in it. There we go. and then just open your little tag up just so that you're working on this half, and you can add some stitching, so because it's like a little semicircle shape. Oops. Just going to do some little lines. There we go, going out and around. So as long as you don't pull too hard, you'll be able to stitch. So I'm going to do 2 there. Just 2 there. I think what I might do, because I know that bit's going to become quite fragile, I'll just get just a little square of fabric, get a glue stick, there we go. Just make it feel just a little bit more stable, that's better. So I've got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you can play around with this, oh crikey, with all sorts of things. And add anything that you want. So it's just adding sort of like another layer to the piece. And then you could add in, find a tiny button. Look at the teeny tinies. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Got a little linen button there. So I'll just go up and down a couple of times just to attach that. So once you've done your embellishment, we're then going to attach it to your little safety pin or whatever it is you've decided that you want to attach them with. Okay, so we've got our little tag, it's all embellished. Get your safety pin, just pop it through, close your tab. Okay, and then all we need to do again is just add a little bit of glue to that side, fold it over, and we've got our little tab with our little pin on. So I've got one there with a button, got one with a little bit of lace. The piece of fabric that I showed you last time that had the numbers on, I actually ended up cutting out numbers 1 to 12, and I just thought because it's the 12 days of Christmas, I'll probably put these on in and amongst. These 2 I've just stuck on. That one I've actually done a little bit of stitching on there as well. I've got one that's a little bit bigger, and I've just put a really pretty piece of lace on there. That one, a little bit of lace with a button. This one that I've just punched the hole out of, I've done a little bit of stitching and a button, and then I've got some other ones that I'm going to finish off decorating. Then all I'm going to do is pin them in my book, so to decide where they're going to go, that little tag. So we've got our first page number 1 here, so get my little thing. Now because we've done this and when we stitched it on we've only stitched around the edge, I'm going to be able to put that through the page, she says, through the page, through the page, but not through the actual piece of work. So there we have, there we go, our tag number 1, and it'll just be a case then of just deciding which ones you want to go on which page. The other thing then that you could do, which was one of the things that I had wondered about, is on the back of the tag, if you want to, you could write a little message or a little prompt or what the page was about, or that was that day of Christmas. And it just sort of adds a little bit of something to your pages. So it's just working your way through, finding out which ones you think are the ones that are going to suit that page. So again, like I normally do, I'll put photos after this little bit of all the pages done so that you can see all the different bits. And then the next bit we'll be doing, that's not quite in the right place, will be the cover and actually getting it all together. So it's quite exciting. I like this bit, bringing everything together. There we go. Okay, so that's the next little bit then. I'm making tiny little tags just to go on the other sides of your pages. So now we're on to our cover. Okay, so originally I'd got a piece of quilt that I was going to use. I was going to have the yellow side up because the yellow sort of matched my box, but actually when I came around to putting it around, I didn't like the yellow, so I flipped it over and it's a little bit creamer on the other side. So what I've done is I've just done some stitching. So I've added some little bits of lace, a little bit of scrim. It's not that easy to see because it's such a pale colour, but hopefully you can make that out. There's not that much on it really, just little bits of lace, little bits of stitching. And what's going to happen then is we're going to get our little book, pop him in. Oops. Then that'll come round the front. I've got a piece of sari silk on there, and then that'll just wrap round and just tuck in. Okay, so that's going to be our book. So all I need to do then is just, where I've got my spine, is just pop, once I've got it all together, is just get a little bit of thread. I'm just going to keep this really simple, the actual stitching it in. Let's find the right needle. So I can see the edges of my signatures on the spine. Sorry, I should have got this ready beforehand. And I'm just going to do some little tacking stitches just to hold it in place. You could decide not to do anything at all. So all I'm looking for is, I've got my little signatures just in here in the corners. So I'm going to find my first two. I'm finding the inside of the curve, and all I'm going to do is just go through and then just do a little stab stitch up and come back through. So I'm just inside that middle page, just to tack that one on. And then I'll go across diagonally so that I come out a little bit further on. So that's that one. And then I'm going to look for my last set of signatures. Again, just find the opening and go in. There we go. And I'm just tacking it in really simply. Just a couple of stitches just to hold it in place. Just tie that off. There's a knot. Oops. Oh, and then just do the same the other end, and basically it's just going to hold it into our little wrap. But like I say, you can deal with this however you want. I know loads of different people are doing all sorts of different things with their books. So I've just found the inside of that first set of signatures. Just coming through and back through. And then I'm going to go diagonally towards the, just a little bit further on. And then find the middle of my last signatures. There we go. Now if you've done them all as separate pages, you might want to stitch them all together. That's like I've said before, that's totally and utterly up to you. I just want to tack it in just so that when I open it up it doesn't fall out. Just by doing it like this, it just means that I know it's going to roll up. But I know I've got a little bit carried away with how much I put in it, and discovered that actually when I come to put it in my tin it doesn't fit. It's got a little bit too fat. Okay, so there we have it. We have our 12 pages of Christmas little roll all finished. So if I open this up now, my little book is attached. So we've got first page, oops, the little tags, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next page. You could put little messages on the backs of the tags if you wanted to. And I've put the tags in different places on the pages, just it mixes it up a little bit. I really like that with the fold over at the back. That's something I'll probably carry on in the next project that we're going to do. Made a tiny Suffolk puff and glued that on. Realised I'd left a page without a tag. I might come back and put something on there, but I might just leave it exactly as it is, or I might even just find something just to pin in its place. Our little tag. So I've really enjoyed doing this. I think it's just been a nice little bit of a distraction, something to do on an evening. A few more different techniques. Like I say, this project, it was going to be for next year, but obviously the world is a little bit bonkers at the moment. And there we've got the back. So when we wrap it all up now, let's pop it around on itself. Just tick that through. And then we have our tin and our lid. So when I put my lid on now, so okay, it doesn't quite shut, but I'll probably pop an elastic band on it just so that it keeps it together, because I don't really want to find another tin. So I probably should have thought about that beforehand, but I don't think it matters. I'd probably display it anyway, just stood up with the lid maybe just propped next to it. So I hope you've really enjoyed the project. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody's done with their tins. I know some people have done some teeny tiny ones. You could do this even on a bigger scale if you wanted to, but that's 12 Days of Christmas, all done and dusted.